Hello guys, my name is Nate and welcome back to my channel. For this video I wanted to attempt to do a challenge that I've seen over YouTube, and that is swapping my screen time for reading. It is the 11th and I've just finished my first book of the month, and I have like 10 that I need to get through, or that I want to get through at least, this month. So yeah, so we're going to try and swap it. It is Tuesday as I'm filming this. I did already start yesterday and I'm going to be trying to do it for the whole week. Now, the goal is to try and do like the overall screen time throughout the week. So I am going to have the intention of trying to hit each days to match up the days, but if I don't, the time can roll over. Monday and Tuesday are my working days, so my screen time is less anyway, but if I don't hit my reading targets for those days, that time will roll over. I am working Thursday this week, but I'm not doing anything at the weekend, so I have a lot more time at the weekend. So let me move over slightly and I'm going to show you my screen time, and we'll talk about where we're at already. This is my screen time for last week, which is 43 hours and 16 minutes. That's awful. That's nearly like 2 whole days on my phone. Yeah. It gives me a daily average of 6 hours, 10 minutes, but like I said, we're going to kind of separate it by what we actually did do on the days. So yesterday was Monday, which was 3 hours and 15 minutes, which I did actually do. I'll talk about where we're at in a minute. Today is Tuesday, which is 4 hours and 37 minutes. So I'd like to try and hit that today, because then tomorrow is 8 hours and 50 minutes. Which is so insane. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to hit that tomorrow. I am probably going to start listening to an audiobook tomorrow just to try and balance the time out, because I do often put YouTube on while I'm doing bits around the house, so I'm going to do the same thing with audiobooks, put audiobooks on while I'm doing the same thing around the house. That's the goal. We'll see if we can do it. If I don't manage to do it, but I get like close, I'll probably be quite happy with it, but I just kind of also do want to use it as an excuse to really try and boost my reading for this week. Like I said, it's now the 11th of July, and I just finished my first book yesterday, so we've got a lot of reading to do this month, the rest of this month, and I'm looking forward to it. It's not like I don't want to do the reading, I do, I just haven't for some reason. So we're currently at 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is more than I needed to read yesterday, but technically I finished at 2 AM, so it could be counted towards today's. So today I'd like to read at least for 4 hours, so to boost that up to about 7.5 hours, maybe 8 hours in total. I haven't started reading yet. It's currently 20 to 10. I'll probably start reading about 10ish because I do want to get some food. I start work at 3, so I have to leave my house at 2:30. So I have about 4 hours now to read. I probably won't read for the entire 4 hours, but I also probably will read a bit when I get back from work towards the end of the night, because I'm never that tired when I get back from work. So let's talk about what I have been reading. I've read like a couple of chapters of Wind in the Willows. I kind of just read this like periodically between reading other stuff, just like reading a chapter at a time. I actually am in the middle of a chapter, so I do want to finish that. So this will just be kind of read a chapter at a time throughout while reading other stuff. I am liking this so far, not like loving it. I don't always find classic writings easy or that enjoyable to read. I find it's quite rambly sometimes, but the story of this is quite fun, and yeah, I do quite like the characters, so this one's going okay. And then the book that I have actually finished is City of Ashes. I really, really enjoyed this. I loved it. I would love to just pick up the next one and just carry on reading it. So I'd love to get a load of all of my books done for this month and then carry on reading this, but I am determined to carry on with the books that I actually got from my TBR. But I had such a good time reading this. I will say I gave it a 4-star or 4.5 stars, where I gave the first one a 5 stars. I think the beginning of this felt a bit rushed to me, but I don't know if that's because I was listening to it. I switched about 100 pages into just reading the book, and yeah, I just really enjoyed reading it, so I'm probably going to carry on reading this series. I did really enjoy the audiobook for the first one, but I don't know why I always felt a bit off. I don't know if it's because I was also trying to do stuff at the same time, so maybe I was just like a bit preoccupied, so I didn't take it in as well. But yeah, I did have such a good time with this. The story has progressed. I obviously know there's like the big bad that's going to happen, I guess, in the rest of this series, but there's 4 books left in this series, so there's a lot to happen still. But I really enjoyed it. I really like the characters in this. I really like the storyline. I just think it's really fun. So yeah, that book has been finished. Today I need to figure out what I'm going to be reading today, and also probably roll it over to tomorrow, so let's figure out what my options are. Now obviously I will carry on with Wind in the Willows just throughout the month, but these are the other books that I have that I could read. So we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, we have Close to Me, which is like an adult thriller. Good Girl Guide to Murder is a teen mystery, I think. I have Moon Over Soho, which is a adult detective fantasy, urban fantasy kind of series. We have not Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, which is obviously a high fantasy, high adult fantasy, and then Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. This one I'm not going to read today because I have a challenge for it to read in one whole day, so I will either try and do it tomorrow, which is Wednesday, or at the weekend where I can do the whole thing in one day, which would be really good for this challenge because it would take me about 6 hours to read. I read about 50 pages an hour, so that would take me about six hours to read. So that would be like a whole day, which would be really good to really knock out. This one I'm probably going to read kind of similar to Wind in the Willows, those where I just read a chapter at a time unless like I get really into it, because it does change up people's perspectives. I find that I'll be really into one person's chapter and really enjoying their story, and then it will change and it will kind of like lose a bit of the momentum for me. So that will be read, I guess, periodically. So I might finish Wind in the Willows and then move on to this to be like my breakup book. Yes, then I have these three. I do have a challenge for this one to read for 2 straight hours. So I could do this morning, and this would be a nice change of pace to City of Ashes and also Wind in the Willows. So I probably actually might pick up this one. Yeah, because then we've got an urban fantasy and another YA. So I think, yeah, this is the one I'm going to try and read today. I'm going to try and read it for 2 hours straight, which would give me that reward. So I think this is the one I'm going to go for, which is actually a signed copy. I met the author at my local Waterstone. She was doing the talk, so I bought the book and I got it signed. So I am excited to read this. So this, yeah, I probably will read this. I will leave these other 2 ones to later on in the week. I do have the audiobook for this, so I will potentially listen to this audiobook, but I do have another couple of audiobooks out from my library that I could be listening to. But I am going to finish the chapter I was on of Wind in the Willows, and then I'm going to crack on with this, and I will keep you guys updated on how I'm enjoying this stuff. Okay, so we have done 2 hours and 6 minutes today. 6 minutes was spent reading Wind in the Willows, or about 5 minutes. But then I read, for 2 hours straight, I read Close to Me. So I have won the reward of getting the works or equivalent book. So I'm on page 120. So I actually read about 60 pages an hour, which is really good for me. I do think these kind of books go quite quicker for me. It's from the first person perspective, and it's just quite an easy read, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It's set out in a really interesting way in that it's like, so our main character has amnesia, she had a fall and has lost the last year of memories from her life, and so each chapter is set out, one is like the day of the accident, and then the next chapter will be like the September, which is like the last, the month after the last thing she can remember, and then it'll be like the day after the accident, and then it'll be like beginning of October. So it's kind of like we're learning about her forgotten year like in order, but she doesn't. She at the moment is having glimpses and flashes of things that are kind of like sprinkling in what's to come, or she's learning about some stuff that's happened, but we're kind of getting the forgotten year in order but sprinkled like from chapter to chapter. So I'm enjoying that. I think that's a really interesting way of like telling the story out, so like revealing to us what has happened without her having to figure it out, because obviously with memory loss comes a kind of, I guess, the unreliable narrator. I imagine it will potentially get frustrating in that when either she starts to remember crucial things or crucial things happen, then having to like go to the next chapter and have to wait a chapter to kind of figure it out. Like she's just received an email at the end of like the current timeline, and then it's gone back and you're remembering something from November last year. So like that, I think as it especially progresses, will get a bit more, not frustrating, but like will be like, I guess also a good way of hooking me, because I'll be like, I want to carry on reading to figure out what this plot point goes to, but obviously I have to read this chapter first. I am about a third of the way through. It's not a huge book, it's 370 pages. So yeah, it was fun. This was like one of the first times I think I've actually kind of sat down and just read and not like picked up my phone every chapter just to check things, and also especially at the beginning of a book, if I do that, like read solidly for a couple of hours, it's usually toward the end of a book where things are heating up. Yeah, so I enjoyed this. It is now like 1:45. I leave for work at 2:30, and I don't need to do a huge amount of stuff to get ready. It'll probably take me half an hour to get ready for work. So yeah, I'll probably make some food now and then like read for another good hour. I probably will read another bit of Wind in the Willows and then carry on with Close to Me. I will finish, I think, Closer to Me while reading Wind in the Willows, and potentially also putting in some Clash of Kings. So I might actually read a chapter of this today. We're on Catelyn's chapter next, but then I will leave the other 2 for after Close to Me is finished. But anyway, that's my update for now. I don't know if I will update again today. I might update just before I go to work, but if not, I will update on Wednesday and see how we get on. But yeah, the total hour time at the moment is 5 hours and 43 minutes, which when we have 43 hours, doesn't sound like a lot, but I think that's quite a lot. But yeah, in the grand scheme of 43 hours is not a lot. I still have 2.5 hours, well, 2 hours and 40 minutes to try and read today to match like the day-to-day hours, but we'll see how it goes. It's currently 5 to 6 on Wednesday, so I did not hit my time goal yesterday. I only did 3.5 hours. I was supposed to try and do about 4.5 hours. Yeah, and I've already done like 50 minutes this morning, so I'm counting that for this morning. I've read another couple of chapters of Wind in the Willows. One I really enjoyed, and then the last chapter was weird. Like, chapter 7 just got a bit weird, and yeah. So I'm gonna leave this for a bit and pick it up again in a little bit. I have read the next chapter in A Clash of Kings, which was Catelyn's chapter, not Caitlin, and I did really enjoy it, so I am probably going to carry on with this a bit, like between my other books, to kind of break up my other books a bit. Instead of Wind in the Willows for a bit, I will pick up Wind in the Willows, but it's just kind of really random, and I don't know what, there's not really a plot. It's kind of more, I guess, about misadventures with the cast of characters, and like there is a bit of a plot going on, and it does kind of interconnect, but yeah, like overall it's just a bit random, and it's like a bit like long-winded, and yeah, so I've got 100 pages left, so I will finish it, but I'm not loving it. There's been a chapter here and there that I have enjoyed, but like the last chapter was just a bit shit and random, and so yeah, I've got 100 pages left. I will finish it, but we'll see how we get on. But the biggest thing that I've read a bit more of close to me, I'm almost at page 200, so then I have well over halfway. I have 100, well, not well over, I have 180 pages left to read. I am enjoying this. It's a very, very easy read. I do quite feel some empathy for the mother in this. The mother is our main character, Jo. Her relationship with her children seems really strange, and like she's a stay-at-home mum, she doesn't work, and her kids have now like left, and she doesn't really have much else but her kids and her husband, which is quite sad. And she is, in like the flashbacks that you see, trying to like make, I guess, a life for herself, but her kids just seem a bit dickish. One of them, her daughter, has a boyfriend who is a dick and really treats the parents like crap, and her son just kind of is non-communicative, and yeah, I feel really empathy for her as a character. I do feel frustrated, I think, a bit with, not with her memory loss, which sounds weird, but because we're now getting pieces of the puzzle from the flashbacks, I know the stuff that's happened, but she still doesn't in like the current timeline, and so it's a bit of like frustrating that she doesn't realise, oh no, she doesn't remember. But yeah, my plan for today I need to try and read 9 hours. I don't know how that's going to go in total, but we will see. The goal is to finish this book, read more of Game of Thrones. I think I might read another chapter of Wind in the Willows, but I also actually started listening to the next book in the How to Train Your Dragon series, which is a series that I'm listening to on audiobook through my library. This one is book 8, and it is called How to Break a Dragon's Heart. So I've only listened to like 18 minutes of it, but I will be listening to that throughout the day and including that in my reading time, but I'll be listening to it while I do other bits like housework and whatnot. Yeah, so that's my reading plans for the day. I'm a bit sleepy, which is why my voice is a bit croaky. Yeah, I think I'm going to sit and read another chapter of this. Total time is just over 8 hours, so we have hit just over 8 hours out of 43, so we have 35 hours still to go, which is a lot. But I feel pretty confident that I can do it. We'll see how today goes. Today I think will be a big deciding day, as it is the longest day. I'm not working today, I'm working tomorrow, so I have the whole day just to kind of lay around and read, which is my plan. So yeah, I'll update you guys later. It's now almost 4 o'clock. I did end up having a nap, but I have read a bit more today. Today, so far, I've read for 4 hours, so I still have 5 hours to read, and it's like 4 o'clock. But I finished it Close to You by Amanda Reynolds. Overall, I liked this book. I did enjoy it. It was easy to read. It was easy to get through. There was some things I had issues with in this book. There was like a lot of like frustration with our main character. She ran away a lot from her situations, and towards the end, that kind of changed. I felt the end was so shy. Not really shy, but like just really rushed. It had like this big kind of chapter where everything, I guess, kind of came to a head. And then the next chapter was 3 months later, which is something I hate in books. I hate when they just do a time skip at the end to just kind of gloss over all the kind of gritty details. I didn't really think there was many redeeming characters in this book, except one, Rose, who was like a lovely sweetheart. And our main character was actually okay, compared to probably all of the people around her. There was no redeeming men in this book. All the men in this book were kind of crap. Even like the main character's son, I thought was a bit of a dig, and I think her children in general were just a bit shit. I don't know. Overall, I gave it a 3 stars because it was like decent enough. I did like the layout of like going back and forth, and eventually towards the end we caught up to kind of current day. It would be slightly repetitive, and also there was definitely some repetitiveness in like the writing. For instance, she always described Rose as having a gummy smile, and she used that description so much. Like Rose and her gummy smile was just all over. But overall, I did enjoy the book. It was very, very easy to read, and yeah, I'm glad I have read it. So that is another one read. I'm going to try and do at least another 4 hours of reading today. 5 might be a lot. I do have work tomorrow, and I think I've got like 6 hours to try and read tomorrow. In total, I am at 11 hours, so at a third of the way through, which for 3 days isn't bad. I would like to try tomorrow and try and be halfway through the hours. I have read a couple of chapters of A Clash of Kings, which I am enjoying, and so I probably will read a little bit more of this, and I'm going to carry on and read another chapter of this. I think the book I'm going to start next is going to be How to Get Away with Murder. No, A Good Guide's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. The last book I read was an adult book, so I think I want to go on to a YA book just as a bit of difference. This book is 428 pages, so it will probably take me about 8 hours-ish to read. This is the book I'm going to start. I will start this tonight at some point, but I think for now I'm just going to read bits of the other books and yeah, see how we go. Okay, so it's now like late Thursday and I'm falling behind. I ended up reading yesterday for a total of like 6.5 hours, which is really good. But I needed to try and get to 8 hours and 50 minutes. So I was like 2.5 hours behind from Wednesday, and I'm like an hour behind from Tuesday. And then today I'm supposed to have read for 7 hours and 45 minutes, and I've read for an hour and 18 minutes. It's like 8 o'clock at night, so I'm gonna try and get in another 2 hours of reading. I am tired though. I am feeling tired. I had work this morning and I'm just feeling a bit tired. So let's talk about what we've been doing though. So I did start listening to How to Break a Dragon's Heart, and I've listened to that on audiobook, and I've listened to 2 hours of it. I listened to it on 1.25 speed, so it's not exactly 2 hours, but I have been listening to that, and I've been really enjoying it. It's just so fun, this series. It's narrated by David Tennant, and he does such a good job of like giving the different characters different voices and really acting out characters and whatnot. So I really recommend it for people that are interested in that. But that's the 8th book in that, so I probably will finish that over the next couple of days. I think I've got 2 more chapters left of this, and I think it's going to end up being a 2-star from me. As it's gone on, I've just not been enjoying it. I enjoyed Toad's chapters the most, but they're also probably like the most outlandish. Like, some of the stuff that happens is so weird, and I can't quite tell how these creatures are supposed to fit into our world. Like, are they supposed to be giant creatures? Because, like, Toad is having interactions with people where people think he's a person because he's, like, in disguise. So is he a giant Toad? I don't know. But anyway, I will finish this. Like I said, I've got 2 chapters left, so like 40 pages. So that'll be finished before the end of this weekend. I don't know how much I've read of this. I've read a few chapters. I don't know how much more I'll read of this. I have still got a chunk left to go, but I will make some more progress on that. And then I have started A Good Guide's Guide to Murder. I keep trying to say How to Get Away with Murder. I'm 59 pages in, and actually I'm really enjoying it. It's a really easy read, and it has like these sections where it's like breakdowns of like interviews that our main character Pip is doing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I like Pip. I did not know this was set in England. I just assumed it was set in America, but it's not. It's set in England, which is nice. I have some theories already. Like I said, I'm only 60 pages in, and it's like, I'm trying not to look at the back, it's like 425 pages, but I have some theories. So I'm going to put a spoiler warning in case they're right for people that haven't read the book, because I mean, I don't know if they're right, I'm 60 pages in, but I have a theory. So that's a spoiler warning. My theory of who did it, because I don't think Sal did it, because I think it would be interesting if they did flip it that he actually did commit this murder, but I don't think he did. I think, which is a bit random and maybe really out of left field, but I think it's Pip's friend's dad, and I don't know why I think that. We've seen him briefly once, but I think Pip's friend's sister, who's named Naomi, I think she knows something just from the way that she acted, but I don't think it was her. I think they want you to maybe think it might be her. I don't think it would have been the girl's dad, because I think that's too obvious, but then sometimes you're like, well, yeah, sometimes the most obvious answer is the answer. But yeah, the reason I think it's Pip's dad, of course, when he came in and was described, I don't know, was kind of weird, the way that he was like described. I don't know why I felt like it was weird. He's also, I think, I could be thinking of a different character, but he's also works at their school, so he would have known both students. Obviously, Sal was friends with his daughter, so my idea was that he was potentially having an affair with this girl. Maybe Sal found out, or it went sour, or she was going to come forward, so he killed her, and then Sal found out, and I think whoever killed the main girl, not the main girl, the girl, killed Sal and made it look like he took his own life to like cover up. I don't think Sal took his own life, and I don't think Sal did it. I think whoever did kill her framed Sal and then like killed him to make it look like it was him. But I think it might be the dad, and I wanted to say that in a video, like before I've gotten further in the book, because a lot of times I think I know who it is, or I think I know what happened, and then because I don't say it, when it is true, it looks like I didn't. So I wanted to say, even if it's wrong, even if I look stupid, because I'm like, why would it be this random guy that we've met once? But I don't know, the most obvious answer I could think would be that he was having an affair with her, and she wanted to come out with it, and it would ruin his career, so he maybe accidentally kills her, and then Sal finds out somehow. I don't know, and then his daughter finds out, maybe, and maybe she tells Sal, which then her dad kills Sal because she tells him, so that's why then she comes home. It's like, she's obviously had issues and stuff. I don't know. I think there's something going on with the dad. Literally could not be, but just because like he's connected through the daughter, he goes to the school, so he would know. The daughter clearly was in love with Sal, so there was like probable cause there. But anyway, I'm going to try and read for another couple of hours tonight. I'm not sure what I'm going to read. I need to do like some tidying and stuff, so I'm going to pop on How to Train Your Dragon, listen to that for a bit while I do some cleaning, and then I probably will read a couple more chapters of this. I am feeling tired though, so my other book that I do have is Moon Over Soho, which I do also have the audiobook for, so I could listen and read that because it might just help when I'm a bit tired. I'd love to do another 2 hours tonight, but that's going to take me over to 10. That's my Thursday update. I probably won't update again until tomorrow, but yeah, Friday, Saturday and Sunday is going to be when I'm going to go hardcore. It's Friday morning. I did not end up reading very much at all yesterday. I read for about just under 3 hours. And I've read for a bit this morning, only for about 45 minutes so far this morning. It is nearly 12 o'clock, but I intend to basically just read for the rest of the day. I did have Friday plans, but they have fallen through, so I'm not doing anything now. So we're just going to be reading. I apologise for this top. I realised it looks really messy. This is a head-eye top that I just enjoy wearing because it's really comfy, but this is bleach stains, so apologies for that. So we are currently at 17 hours and 20 minutes, which is really good, but when I think that my total that I need to try and hit is 43 hours, is not even halfway, and I have like 2 and the rest of the day and the weekend to do this. So a lot of hours. But yeah, I'm still feeling confident that I can do it. I just might not get much sleep over the next couple of days, and that's fine. That's fine. We might just be laying awake in bed listening to audiobooks, but I really do want to just try and push myself to do this challenge. I'm currently at page 117 on this book, so I don't actually know if I ended up reading much more, but I've put this book on hold, so I've set my other books aside, and we are going to be reading on this. I'm 53 pages in. I'm on chapter 5, about to start, and it just gets straight into it. It honestly just dives you straight back in, and you just get so involved, and it's really enjoyable. I really enjoyed the first 2 books of this series. I think they were both like 4-star ratings for me, and I'm really excited to carry on with the series. I really know very little about like Greek mythology, so whenever they bring up new gods, I don't really know who they are, with the exception of like Zeus, Apollo, Ares, you know, the big gods. I know them, but any of like smaller gods, or even just like slightly not the big gods, I have no idea who they are. So we just met Athena. Is that her name? I already don't remember what it is. No. Athena is goddess of wisdom. I know that because she's Annabeth's mum. Oh my god, this is bad. No, her name is Artemis. And I feel like I knew the name, but I had no idea who she was. But yeah, so we've met Artemis and Apollo now, so they're new. And also, we've just met Bianca and Nico. But I think Nico has just had a book published about him, if I'm correct in believing. So I think there was a book published this year that is Nico's story. So that's really cool. Eventually, I am wanting to read everything in like the Rick Riordan verse, but we're starting with like the original series, but so that would be really cool to read that. Now I've met the character, so I'm like, oh, when people say that, I know he's in this now. Obviously he's a child in this. I'm going to assume he's going to be a teenager in that, but this is going to be the next book, so we're just going to plow through this. Like I said, we are at 17 hours and 20 minutes. My goal for today is to maybe try and hit 24 hours, which would be like another 7 hours, not even 7 hours of reading. I think that's a good goal, because then I would just have 20 hours to do over 2 days. So maybe I should try and hit more. God, I don't think I'm going to do this. I'm going to have to work hard over these next 3 days to actually hit that target, which I do want to do just to challenge myself. But yeah, I'm going to have to work hard. But yeah, I will come back with an update on what I'm thinking of this book. So it's now like 15:15 midnight on like Saturday morning, so Friday to Saturday, and I have finished Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. I finished this about an hour ago, so I'm just under 23 hours, so we still have 20 hours to go in 2 days. So this is going to be tight. If I'm going to listen to the rest of How to Train Your Dragon book 8, and then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to read after that. But I am pretty tired, so I don't know how much more I'll be able to read tonight. Good morning. So it's Saturday morning. I ended up reading yesterday for about 7 hours, actually. So I read for about 7 hours, but I'm only at just under 24 hours of reading, which like is really good, but I need to get to 43. So over the next 2 days, I need to read like 19 hours. I don't 100% see it happening, but I'm still going to put my best effort in to try. I finished Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse, which I've really, really enjoyed. I rated 4 stars. I think it was so much fun. We got to spend some time with some new characters, which was really fun. And yeah, just kind of the development of the story of working towards what I guess the big battle, the kind of big end point is. And I'm really excited to carry on with the series. It was just really fun and easy read. I really like Percy Jackson. And then I finished listening to How to Break a Dragon's Heart. This was just another really fun How to Train a Dragon book. It was really enjoyable. David Tennant is just such a good job with his voice acting, and I was just always very impressed. I just really enjoyed it. I'm just a bit tired still now because I stayed up a bit later to reading. I am going out for a bit this afternoon, so I've got until about 3. I'm going to try and just plow through some reading, and then yeah, we'll see where we get on. I probably will end up trying to listen to more of an audiobook as well as over the next 2 days because I am feeling tired and my eyes are starting to feel a bit sleepy now. So from my July TBR, I still have to finish this. The next book, The Song of Ice and Fire, I have a graphic novel, a manga, and Moon Over Soho. So I actually don't have that much stuff. So I think I'm at now, reading this has really helped me feel quite confident in that I can get all of my TBR finished for July, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to crack on with this and I will come back with an update afterwards. Hello, so it is Monday now and I have come to the end of my week of trying to swap my extremely large screen time for reading. And ultimately, I was unsuccessful. I think I gave it a really good shot, but because I kind of fell behind in the beginning of the week, I just didn't have enough time to catch up. I ended up working a bit on Sunday and I read so much on Saturday that I felt a bit burnt out and tired, and I could have done it, but it would have mean really pushing myself on Sunday. Because I had work, I was like, no. I woke up so tired, I ended up going back to sleep and then going to work, and then I was just like, no, I was done. However, let's talk about the total. So, as I showed, I will try and put it up here. I had 43 hours of screen time. I successfully managed to read for 34 hours and 27 minutes. So I was still off by 9 hours, but I think that's still such a good number. I'm not that bothered that I failed because it's a lot. It was a lot of time, and actually this week's screen time has gone up. It's 15% more for some reason. I did spend 8 hours just on my clock app, so obviously I just left my clock app on while I was reading. But yeah, so I still had a huge screen time where I was on YouTube or whatever, and I still managed to read this much. So it really shows that I can really try and incorporate a decent amount of reading into my daily life. So I really want to try and start reading for about 2 hours a day, because also I had such a good time with some of the books that I was reading and just kind of getting involved in books, and like I read 2 books in like the space of a day, and that was just really good fun. So Monday I read for 3.5 hours, Tuesday I read for 3.5 hours, Wednesday I read for 6 hours and 25 minutes. That's the day that I was supposed to try and read for 9 hours, so that day had such a big knock-on effect. And then Thursday I only read for 3 hours and 40 minutes. That's the day actually that had a huge knock-on effect, because I think that was supposed to be like 7 hours. So between those 2 days, I think I had like 7 hours of missed time, which if I had gotten closer to, I probably would have been able to push myself to get closer. Friday, I read for 6.5 hours, and then Saturday, which kind of went over into Sunday morning because I stayed up till like 3, I read for 10.5 hours. So yeah, I really did do a good push on Saturday, but I was just so tired. I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm done. But I did actually enjoy a lot of stuff that I enjoyed most of the stuff that I read, so I'll go over what I read. I can't even remember what I started with. I think as I started this challenge, I was finishing City of Ashes. I really enjoyed this. I think I had 150 pages left to read, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think this was really good. I then read Close to Me by Amanda Reynolds. I did really enjoy this. It was a mystery kind of thriller, I guess, although I don't know if it was a thriller. I don't really know. I think it's classified as a thriller, but I don't know if I found it thrilling. I guess it had that mystery crime element going on. I did like it. I didn't like the ending as much. Not necessarily what happened in the ending, but the way that it was executed I didn't think was that great. But I did overall, this was decent enough. I then read Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. I read this in a day for one of my little challenges, and I absolutely loved it. This was such a good fun time. It's really cool to see how the kind of, I guess, main big bad story is evolving, and I'm really excited to read the last 2 volumes in this series. I read Wind in the Willows, which I did not enjoy at all. There were a couple of chapters that I enjoyed, and there were characters that I liked, but I think the overall story was just kind of random. I just didn't enjoy it overall. Yeah, I will talk about it more in my wrap-up, but yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this book. And listened to and like read, like while also listening to Moon Over Soho. This is the 2nd book in the Rivers of London Peter Crouch Detective series, and I actually really enjoyed this. I think the story is well done and really interesting in terms of like crime. It's an urban fantasy, so it deals with a police detective that is in a world where the police are aware that these magic exists, and so there is like a unit that deal with it, and our main character is the unit that deals with it. I like that it has the element of being involved with the police and not trying to have to work around the police. I think that's a nice added element. Like, police know what's going on, and so he doesn't have to pretend and try and lie, but they kind of just let him get on with in this department, get on with the weird magic stuff, and then they kind of just, he doesn't get in trouble for it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I did enjoy this, and I like the kind of elements of, has stuff to do with the first one. Obviously, there's lots of stuff that's going to continue over, but it is like a kind of standalone cases. I did enjoy this one. And then I also read My Broken Mariko. This is a manga, it is a standalone, and yeah, I enjoyed this. I really like the cover. The art inside isn't quite as nice. Well, I mean, it is quite nice, and I do like the way it plays with lighting and the way it tells a story. I don't read a lot of standalone manga, so I always find it really interesting to read one to see how they develop and go about it. Again, I will talk about all more of these series in depth a bit more in my wrap up. Okay, so I read about 40 pages of this, so not a lot, and I do need to finish it by the end of the month, so I need to really try start cracking on with this. But yeah, so I did read a bit of that. And then I'm about 170 pages in this still. I didn't re-pick it up after I read it, and I did actually really enjoy this. I think this is going to be a really fun, easy read to finish. I'm really excited. I really hope that this case gets wrapped up in this book, because I know this has a couple of sequels, which I don't know if it was like initially planning to have those sequels, and this is like, it wraps it up, because if I have to read 2 more books to find out like this mystery, I'm going to be annoyed. But I'm really excited to finish this. I did listen to an audiobook, which I'll put here, which was the 8th book in the How to Train a Dragon series. I think it's How to Break a Dragon's Heart. I listened to all of that during this time as well, which I obviously use that as reading time. Yeah, so I did that whole audiobook, and then I started listening to Eldest by Christopher Polini. I'm rereading this via audiobook and then also reading it, because I never actually finished the series, and I know a new book in the world or the series comes out later this year, and so I would love to be up to date. Well, I'm going to buy it when it comes out, even if I'm not up to date, but I'd love to, you know, finish that and catch up this year, which I've been listening to some of this morning, but I'm about 120 pages in to this. I have thoughts about the narration. Like, I think the narrator makes Eragon sound a bit whiny and annoying, and so I think I find Eragon more annoying when I'm listening to the audiobook than when I'm actually reading this. He is young, he's like, I think 16, so when I was younger and I read the series for the first time, I probably didn't find him as annoying as I potentially would now as an adult reading it. So I probably will read a lot of this as well as listen to the audiobook, go back and forth and do both. I do also just want to reread it. Even though it is long and there's like a lot of text, it is easy to digest. So that's everything. So I managed to read, I definitely read 3 whole books. I don't know how much of Wind in the Willows I was on, but I finished that one, so that's another book finished. I obviously finished City of Ashes, so that's like 5 books completely finished. I read a manga, and then I made good progress on this, and I listened to a whole audiobook. So yeah, it was a really actually successful week, and I definitely needed it to like really kickstart this TBR, because I had not read any of the books on my July TBR, like completed them. So I'm actually more confident now that I will get this done. I've still got 2 weeks left, and I've got like 2 books to finish, and a manga and a graphic novel. So I think I will be able to finish it now. This challenge has been a really good fun time. I would love to do it again, probably in a month's time. Like, it's probably not going to be something I do like a couple of times a month, maybe once a month it would be fun to do, but I would also probably strategically try and do it when I have had a good reading like screen time week, and not when I had 43 hours, because that was long. But thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know if you've read any of the things that I read and what your thoughts were about them, and I will see you again hopefully soon.